All right, everybody, it's good to see you all today. We are broadcasting live from Atlanta, Georgia for the MEAC SWAC Challenge 2021. That is the game between the North Carolina Central team versus the Alcorn State team from the SWAC. And I'm excited to be here in Atlanta broadcasting live on Freestyle Friday. All right, let's get this thing going. Come on now. If you are out there and you ready to get in, let's go.
The views and opinions expressed on all radio shows broadcast on KYOK are entirely those of the host, guests, and callers who are entirely responsible for all show content and do not in any way reflect the opinions of KYOK Radio, its sponsors, staff, or management.
Talking about the Jets like we're talking about the Saints. You know, all this holler, we the Miami Heat of football. Yeah. The bottom line is you got to buckle up the chin straps. It's embarrassing. Yeah. Don't disrespect the game like that. There's too much crying from him. He's a man. He can be hit just like us. He's a man. You already make the big run. He's a man. I'm proud of you stepping on the field, man. That's who I did. When I step on the field, I send one message. This is what it feels like. Oh, my bad. Your bad don't work in my world.
What's going on, Keith?
It's a wrap. Game over.
All right, it is not game over. In fact, we are just getting started right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK live from Atlanta, Georgia. And I tell you what, I'm excited about today's show. Again, if you want to get in, you got to hit me up, 832-403-5005. That's 832-403-5005. We're getting ready for the big matchup between North Carolina Central and I'm sorry, I'm reaching over trying to get my notes. I'm on a different set, as you can see. I'm all lit up, But anyway, North Carolina Central Eagles taking on the Alcorn State Braves. And as I was flying in, there are a lot of Alcorn State Braves that were coming this way for the game. In fact, I'm looking out for number 60 on Alcorn State. I flew in with his mother on for the game today, and there were a lot of Alcorn State Braves that are ready for this big matchup. So really looking forward to it. It goes down tomorrow. The kickoff is going to be at 7:00 p.m., but there's festivities all around the game. In fact, I'll be out there with the College Game Day crew from ESPN tomorrow morning. I won't be on the set. I'm not going to be one of the guests or anything like that, but covering the game as part of the media tomorrow is going to be pretty exciting. So covering College Game Day, where you get a chance to talk with the stars of that particular show. So I'm really looking forward to that. Kirk Herbstreit is introducing a new book that he's written. So looking forward to getting some information about that. So again, a lot going on this weekend right here in Atlanta for the MEAC SWAC Challenge. Is going to be going on tomorrow at 7 o'clock. It's right at Georgia State Stadium. They call it the Center Park Stadium. Got a chance to drive by it on the way in. It's going to be a great game. Really looking forward to it. If you're in the Atlanta area, good seats are still available, and we want you to come on through. I got a couple of special guests going to be dropping in on me today. I really want to definitely get Keisha Kelley's take on what she thinks is going to happen tomorrow, and really just the state of HBCU football. When I was driving in, my Uber driver. No, it wasn't my Uber driver. When I was in the airport, sitting at the gate, there was a gentleman that was coming to the game, and he was talking about how he's wondering if there are going to be a lot of HBCU programs that are going to do what Jackson State did, bring in a big name former NFL player. As you know, we know that Tennessee State did that when they brought in Eddie George. There are other guys that played in the NFL, but not with names like Deion Sanders or Eddie George. I'm like this, man. Let me tell you something. You might not be familiar with some of the names in HBCU football as far as coaches go. That doesn't mean they don't know how to coach. That don't mean that they're not as good as some of the other coaches that are out there. Now, I'm not putting everybody on Nick Saban level. I'm not putting everybody on Dabo Swinney level, but I'm just telling you there are some very, very good, competent, well-accomplished HBCU coaches in the SWAC, in the MEAC, in the SIAC, and other conferences that a lot of folks just don't know about. And I think, now that ESPN has made some room on its network and sent some folks out to cover some of these games, a lot of people are becoming introduced and some reintroduced to HBCU football. Well, I got news for you. There are some really good coaches who've been out there, who've been doing their thing for a while. So, again, a lot of times these things go in waves. A lot of times these things go in cycles and what have you. And there are athletic directors that will do what we say about the NFL. We say the NFL is what? A copycat league. There are athletic directors in the SWAC and in the MEAC and in some other conferences that it's a copycat league. If it works down there with Deion, well, let me see who is an alma mater or a former alum, of our school, or someone who has an affinity for our school that we can bring in and quite possibly be able to get some of that excitement, that buzz that's going on around Deion and Eddie George at their respective schools. But you'll be hearing from me and Coach Johnny Cole. He was former head coach at Texas Southern University, won the SWAC championship there when he was there, did that for the first time in a lot of years. Coach Johnny Jones has a different feeling and thought about that. There's a lot of guys that can coach, played in the league, but like I said, they don't necessarily have the big names of a Deion Sanders. They don't necessarily have the big name of an Eddie George, but that don't mean they can't coach. In fact, when I look at my SWAC power rankings, I don't got Deion winning it all. I don't. I don't. I think there's some other teams, other programs that have already shown us that, Deion better get up to speed quick because they're there. Alabama A&M is going to be good. Again, they're bringing back the SWAC Offensive Player of the Year, and that's Akil Glass. Arkansas Pine Bluff, who was in the SWAC championship game against Alabama A&M, is going to be back, and they're going to be tough. And I keep saying it. Some folks don't agree with me, but watch out for FAMU. FAMU coming over from the MEAC is going to be a solid competitor in the SWAC rankings. I even got Alabama State up there. Titus Howard's alma mater. I've got them up there. So, I'm not just going to give it to Jackson State because of Deion Sanders. He's bringing in his son as quarterback. The incumbent has transferred out. There's a lot of, I'm not going to say turnover, but there are young players who are at Jackson State. There are players that are transferring into Jackson State. All of them are learning a new system with Coach Sanders. and they gotta get it together. They gotta get it together. Alcorn State, from diving in a little bit more than I have in the past, Alcorn State has a chance to have a solid year and put some pressure on, those teams that I said are going to be at the top of the conference. They got some opportunity to put some pressure on them. Prairie View is another school that could have a bounce back year. Grambling, Coach Fobbs down there, Grambling, he ain't gonna stay down long. They had a tough spring, but that doesn't mean they're gonna have a tough. That doesn't mean that they're not gonna have a tough, bounce back. They're not gonna have a good bounce back. So anyway, I say all that to say, a lot of folks are being reintroduced to HBCU football, and a lot of them are feel like, oh yeah, man, all they got to do is this, all they got to do is that. Hey, listen, they've been around for a while. They know what they're doing. They haven't gotten the exposure that they should have gotten and deserve. Let me be very clear about that they should have gotten and deserve before now. And they deserve that. There was a lot of buzz when Steve McNair was at Alcorn State. They were talking about, swapping them into, I think it was one of the bowls in Tennessee. They were trying to get them into one of the bowls so a lot of people could get their eyes on McNair. I remember they were cutting away from whatever game they were showing. Whenever Steve McNair had the ball, they would cut away from the game that they were showing to Steve McNair's game so that, folks could see just how dynamic of a player this young man was. And, again, there have been solid players that have come through HBCU schools, been solid players that have come through HBCU schools, and now they're starting to get some attention and some shine. And if Deion Sanders has been the catalyst for that, Coach Deion Sanders has been the catalyst for that, then so be it. Thank you. Thank you for bringing the media attention where it should have been all along. There are enough outlets. There are enough networks. There are enough even ESPN channels. When you look at ESPN3 and how they broadcast multiple different games, they should have been at the HBCUs all along. They should have been there all along. Man, North Carolina A&T had a run in the MEAC that should have been documented, should have had a whole lot of eyes on it. And somebody said, well, AJ, they're there now. Why we can't go back and fix what hadn't been done. That's fine. True, accurate point. But it doesn't mean that I don't get to bring it up. It doesn't mean I don't get to talk about it. And I am talking about it. So I'm looking forward to doing the HBCU Stroll every Monday with Coach Johnny Cole. Again, a SWAC championship winning coach. I'm looking forward to going down different HBCU campuses and talking about what their particular school did over the weekend. Coach Cole's going to focus a lot on the SWAC, having coached in that conference, but we're going to do all of them. We're going to talk about Morehouse. We're going to talk about Norfolk State. We're going to talk about Howard and Hampton. We're going to talk about all those schools. So get ready to check that out every Monday going forward on the HBCU Stroll. A couple of Kappas, a couple of Newps walking down the yard talking about some HBCU football. And not just football. We're going to talk about sports. We're going to talk about those campuses. So I'm looking forward to that as well. All right, I got to get ready to take a break. We got a sponsor for the lunch break. If you're trying to get back in shape, you're trying to do it in a fun way where you're not just grinding and grueling, I want you to check this out. Y'all check this out.
Hey, y'all. It's Natasha Marie, and I'm here today to talk to you about Studio Zumba Plus. Studio Zumba Plus, whether you're more than just Zumba, is Houston's new prime location for fitness classes, body contouring, and event space rental needs. Oh, and I cannot forget $5 line dance Fridays. So get on over to Studio Zumba Plus, where their motto is you dance it off, contour it off, and then celebrate with a party that is off. They are located on 13018 Woodforest Boulevard, Suite E. That is 13018 Woodforest Boulevard, Suite E. Book your appointment at StudioZumbaPlus.com. That's StudioZumbaPlus.com. And their telephone number is 737-808-1408. 737-808-1408. 737-808-1408. There are no more excuses, y'all. Let's get it.
All right. I am so glad to have Studio Zumba Plus on as a sponsor. They are some amazing people helping folks get back into premium shape. A lot of folks dealing with what I call that Rona weight and, quarantine weight. But hear me when I say I'm excited about having them on board as a sponsor. All right. My special guest just said that not in a position to do the video, but is able to call in. So as soon as we can get her on the line, we'll have none other than Keisha Kelley, Black College Experience, talking about a lot of what I have already talked about. And we'll talk a little bit about the game. North Carolina Central playing their first game in 644 days. That's almost 2 years since they played a college football game. So now you've got people that have transitioned in, transitioned out. You got folks that have been practicing, I think, but again, there's no replication for the game unless you're playing a game. So we'll see how that affects them as they try to take on Alcorn State down there. Coach McNair trying to pull it together. He's got a record of 30 wins, 19 losses in his fifth season. Fred McNair, head coach of Alcorn State. And then, of course, Trey Oliver, head coach of North Carolina Central. He's been there for a couple of years and is a graduate of North Carolina Central back in 1988. And, he's got a record of 4-8. So obviously got some work to do in this MEAC SWAC challenge. There was some breaking news earlier. And that was the New Orleans Saints have decided that it ain't prime time, it's Jameis time. It is Jameis Winston time. And as I was flying in, you got to have your phone off while you're in the air. And then as soon as you get ready to land, they allow you to turn your phone off and all that kind of stuff. Turn your phone back on. I turned my phone on, and the first thing that popped up, New Orleans Saints announced Jameis Winston as their starting quarterback. I am excited, man. I'm trying to tell you, when I tell you I'm so goofy about that, I can't even see straight. Jameis Winston going to be the starter, and I'm looking forward to it. Let me look. I got to jump over there. I got to jump over there and see. New Orleans is going to open up week 1. New Orleans Saints going to open up week 1, and I am looking forward to them. Hold on. Saints schedule week 1. Oh, they've got the Green Bay Packers. They got the Green Bay Packers in New Orleans on September the 12th. So Jameis is going to go, as Shaka Khan would say, through the fire, through the limit to the wall for a chance to be the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. I'm excited about that because I think what Jameis brings to the table is something that the Saints haven't had in a while. Jameis allows the Saints to stretch the field. I love Drew Brees. Drew Brees is a first ballot Hall of Famer. I love Drew Brees when he came out of Purdue. I loved him when he was over in with the Chargers when they were in San Diego, and it was him and Phillip Rivers, and they decided to go with Phillip Rivers. I think Drew got hurt, actually, and they decided to go with him. But long story short, when Drew got his shot in New Orleans, guess what? We embraced him. I'm a lifelong New Orleans Saints fan, so I know everybody said, that's Drew's town. Listen, New Orleans long before Drew Brees was ever even born. It'll be New Orleans long after he's gone. But hear me when I say he is a favorite son. He'll go into the Hall of Fame as a New Orleans Saint. That's great. Should be. Whatever ring of honor the New Orleans Saints has, Drew Brees should be in that. But Jameis Winston, physically now, I'm not talking about results. I'm not talking about that yet because we don't know. Physically, Jameis Winston gives the Saints something that they didn't have with Drew Brees, and that's a quarterback that can stretch the field. Jameis Winston can lay that thing up with anybody. Jameis Winston can throw that thing and spin it through the air as far as anybody. Oh, AJ, he always throws interception. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He had a historically bad year a couple of seasons ago when he threw 30 INTs. I'm not going to discount that. I'm not going to shy away from that. I'm not going to act like that didn't happen, because it did. It did. It is absolutely true that that's what happened with Jameis Winston. But that being said, there are Hall of Fame quarterbacks who have bounced back from 29 interceptions in a season, from 21 interceptions in a season, talking about Brett Favre and Peyton Manning. All right, I got my special guest. She just called in. Let me get her on here. Let me get some volume on her. And ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, the queen of Black college football. And I mean it when I say it. I'm talking about none other than Keisha Kelley from Black College Experience. Keisha, how you doing?
Oh, do forgive me. I stepped out and I thought I was going to do one thing, and one thing turned into another thing, and here I am on HBCU weekend trying to do multiple things.
Well, see, Keisha, let me tell you something. I know that nobody hustles harder than you when it comes to Black college football, Black college, period. So hear me when I say, no problem. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Well, it's that time. It's that weekend. We are in this piece for the MEAC SWAC Challenge. And Keisha, there were a lot of Alcorn State Braves on my flight. I'm talking about young and old on that flight. They are in this city ready to check out North Carolina Central and Alcorn State.
They are. So I am. I'm gonna tell y'all like they tell us, it's not Alcorn, it's Alcorn. They will get mad
Yeah,
if you
man.
not pronounce the name of that school right. If you don't pronounce it Alcorn like it's supposed to be, they will come for your head.
And Keisha, and what's crazy is I know better, because see, I grew up in the Midwest, and there's a little town up in the Midwest that most people call Louisville or Louisville, and it's Louisville.
Right.
And if you don't say Louisville right, I don't care how good you look, I don't care how nice you smell, they ain't gonna fool with you. So you are absolutely right. Yes, ma'am.
But it is. We are at that time. I got a chance to, catch up with some of their fans, got a chance to catch up with, I did see their team getting ready to go into practice. North Carolina Central had come out of practice, so we are definitely at that time. I got a chance to go watch some basketball last night, and I did see two of their fans, and they were like, "Yeah, we gonna beat you. We still gonna beat y'all." And I'm like, "We are not the focus. We are not playing tomorrow. Y'all better be worried about North Carolina Central. That's your focus, not Southern University."
But you know what? That's the interesting thing about it, Keisha. Southern invokes so much passion in other schools because they want to be y'all since they can't beat y'all.
Absolutely. And that's what we get all the time. And people are thinking about Southern, and we don't play until like October 30th. But the fact that you're so worried about Southern, and you got to come to that route.
Yep. Yep. Well, Keisha, I got a chance to talk with the assistant athletic director of Alcorn, and one of the things he was talking about was Coach McNair and how Coach is so laser focused on this game and this season because of how things went in the spring. They didn't have the kind of spring that they wanted, due to COVID and what have you. And he literally said, Coach McNair is like a caged tiger. He cannot wait to get out.
And so I do. I tell people I have to say this because I'm try to be one of the most unbiased people ever. Both North Carolina Central, both North Carolina Central and Alcorn, neither of them had a 2019
right,
or 2026. So they haven't played since 2019, rather. And so what you're looking at is the last time that both teams actually played was in 19. And so even though Coach McNair is that dog, like they have that hunger, that grit, and it's because, you know, more so because they sat down and everybody talked about them. The same thing is going on with North Carolina Central. Trey Oliver's the same way. A man, a few words. He gonna do all that talking. He gonna do all that John Jack and all on social media. But they're ready too. They're definitely ready.
Yeah.
They're definitely in the same place. And Coach McNair is one of those. He's one of the easiest people to talk to. Just so, you know, so easygoing, great coach. And I have no doubt that they're going to go in there and they're going to, you know, I think they'll start off slow, but I think the momentum will pick up with all coaches.
Yeah, yeah. Keisha Kelley, Black College Experience, joining us here on the lunch break. Freestyle Friday, live from Atlanta as we get ready for the MEAC SWAC Challenge tomorrow at 7. And Keisha, you're absolutely right about Coach Trey Oliver. I did get a chance to listen to one of his interviews. And when I tell you, man, very quiet, very soft-spoken, but I know that's like lava up underneath the ground. It's just waiting to erupt. And they haven't played a game in almost 2 years, 644 days. I know he's got to be ready as well.
Correct. You know, it is. It's just pretty much, you know, it's just low-key. And I got a chance. I don't know if you got a chance this morning to where I don't know if you were flying in, but like this morning on Good Morning America, we got a chance to see them highlight North Carolina Central and Alcorn. And so the great thing about that is that you get two programs. Neither have played since 19. You get two programs that you get to talk about all of this HBCU stuff. You get to tell all the history and everything behind it. And then you got two great coaches, great players. And then you had one kid that was over, Jesse Mallett, that was over from North Carolina Central. They talked about all the great things that he's doing. So, you know, just to be in that space and to be able to just witness all of the stuff that they're doing, I know they just ready to knock each other's heads off. I know it. I know they are.
Yep. Keisha Kelley, Black College Experience, joining us here on the lunch break, Freestyle Friday. We're live on location in Atlanta, Georgia, getting ready for the MEAC SWAC Challenge. Keisha, you know, something came up while you were just talking there. You know, we know coaches are ready. We know Coach Oliver's ready. We know Coach McNair's ready. Neither one of them have really played a game in almost 2 years. Have you talked to any of the kids or the parents that also have not been able to play over that time, but now their time is up? They now have to move on and transition out of either North Carolina Central or Alcorn, and you know, all they can do now is root for their school. Have you talked to any of those kind of parents or kids?
So I have had a chance, you know, to talk to some of the guys from Alcorn and just have a conversation with some of them, and they are, you know, the grit and grind. They're very excited. You know, just having a conversation and listening to some of the stuff that I'm hearing from like Felix Harper. You know, Felix Harper is from Atlanta, so to come back and to be able to play in front of your hometown, to play in your, you know, in your city is absolutely exciting. So, you know, it's sad that we hear with North Carolina Central, it's more so like this is a business trip. We're going to handle business, and it's not a lot of talking.
Yeah,
that's how it is. So on both sides. So I think the winner is going to determine the trash talk. But right now, it's kind of like, all right, you know, both teams have the only film you've had to study was prior to, you know, 19 and back. You don't have anything to study after that. You don't have a spring season. You didn't have 2020. So, you know, it's just something that they'll have to wait. But again, I think it's going to be rough on both sides.
Yeah.
It's going to be slow on both sides. And I'm just praying that it's, you know, it's a really competitive game.
Right. You and me both.
Lopsided. I don't want a lopsided game.
Yeah, you and me both, especially with all eyes on this game, because it will get ESPN coverage. College Game Day is going to be out there. We'll get a chance to see that tomorrow. So it is a game that we want to represent the HBCU community very well, and I'm prayerful that it'll do that. Yeah. One of the other things I asked Coach McNair, and he didn't answer, and I'm glad it was on a video and he couldn't see me. I could see the look on his face. With this being, you know, their first game in so long, my question was to him, Is it important to pull out all stops in this game, not worrying about what it's going to show the other SWAC schools, or do you go in with a different kind of game plan because you're playing a non-conference school? He didn't want to answer that. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely believe that it is, and the reason why is because even though it's a non-conference game, all of these games count. Because you have to remember, things are determining going up to the Celebration Bowl.
Right.
And with that realignment, things differ. So I think that it's absolutely, they've had the opportunity to study everybody.
Right.
So I still think that it's important to pull out the stops. Do what you got to do. Pull them out. Do what you got to do. Because you can change your game plan from week to week. You know what it takes to beat people. You've beaten your teams. You've beaten your opponent several times, so you know how to switch it up.
Yeah.
But I definitely believe that, I say it pulls out the stops. And of course, I expect them not to answer that. It's like, hey, you don't want to really give the opponent or anybody too much. But I expect that. But, I do. I expect them to do whatever they need to do to win that game tomorrow, though. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's at the end of the day, you don't want to start the season with a loss, especially against, a cross-conference, foe like the MEAC or the SWAC. So, that's my thought there. Again, Keisha Kelley joining us. Keisha, I flew in with a guy and he made a statement, and I said, this is something I'm going to ask Keisha when we talk today. He was saying that he hopes that other schools will do what Tennessee State did, bringing in Coach Eddie George, and what Jackson State did, bringing in Coach Deion Sanders. What are your thoughts on that? And let me tell you why I say that, because there have been some great coaches in the SWAC and the MEAC and other conferences long before Coach Deion Sanders and Coach Eddie George. But what are your thoughts on it, being so close to it as you are?
So my thoughts are simply this. When it comes to coaches, I'm all about giving coaches chances, but I'm also this person that I don't believe that you have to have a high-profile coach to get the job done.
Yeah.
I totally commend, Coach Prime and Coach Eddie George for being in those programs. But, we can always look at coaches like Coach Pugh over at South Carolina State.
Right.
We can look at the Coach Odoms that was over at Southern. We can look at, Coach Bob, Coach Maynard. We can look at all of these coaches. So we have some really great coaches that are across the board in these conferences. And so it doesn't have to be. Now, what I will say, and that people don't like to admit, is that with those names comes resources.
Right.
And that's what we need. We need resources. And so oftentimes what I find is a catch-22. We want the resources, but we don't want the name attached. No, you don't get to pick and choose.
Right.
You ask for this coverage.
Right.
You ask for this exposure. So
Yep.
if it comes with the coach, and the coach got to bring you that, then you got to take the coach and the coverage at the same time. And that's the one thing that I absolutely respect and absolutely want for our schools. And so if that means bringing in the coaches and bringing in all of that, then I'm good with that.
Yeah, you and me both, Keisha. I said it before you came on. If Coach Deion Sanders coming to the SWAC has brought the attention and the media coverage and the sponsorships and what have you, then great. I wish it had been there before now. I wish it had been there long before now. I even talked about how when Steve McNair was playing at Alcorn, that they cut away from a different game every time he was on offense just so they could show how great he was. Imagine if ESPN had been covering those games back then, and Fox Sports and CBS Sports and what have you. So it's here now. We're gonna be thankful for it. But folks are being introduced to the HBCU schools. Guess what? There've been great coaches on these levels for a long time.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Keisha, one more thing before you go. I have a new favorite school and team. I am officially a North Carolina A&T men's golf team lover because I am happy for J.R. Smith to be able to get eligibility and for him choosing North Carolina A&T to go back to school and be able to play on the golf team. What are your thoughts about something like that?
Listen, I am so excited. So if y'all see me somewhere talking about I'm covering golf 1 week, just know I'm just over there trying to see what J.R. Smith is doing. And I think it's so funny because J.R. Smith will be 36 next week.
Uh-huh.
And J.R. was saying that that, he's not the traditional student, which we understand.
Right.
And so he said, my first assignment was a PowerPoint. He said, people are asking me who I got on campus doing my work. He said, I'm doing it myself. I'm trying to learn too. He said, but I'm not the traditional student. I just don't think a professor would fail him. Like the truth, I wouldn't fail him. I wouldn't do that. But I am so excited to see him, as a freshman. And the thing is that when we get more and more of these students, you get the likes of that, Chris Paul, people like this that's going to college after the fact, 20 years later. You said, I want to go into college, and I don't care how old I am. I know that I was a 16-year NBA veteran. So, to see that kind of stuff and to see, enrolled in one of our schools, it just does a lot for us. It brings more exposure. And again, we know with those names attached, resources come. Those resources are coming. So if you got to play golf, tennis, lacrosse, I don't care, swimming, whatever you got to do whatever you choose. But if you can bring that exposure and the dollars, I am not turning it away.
Yeah, I'm so happy for him. And I got to admit, nobody's harder on the NCAA as an organization than me. They finally got one right by giving that young man whatever eligibility he had left and allowing him to play. Now, Keisha, I know you don't do this. You won't do this, but I'm going to do it while I got you. You give away scholarship money to amazing young people going to HBCUs. Do me a favor. Tell us how that got started and how many people you've been able to bless since you've been doing this.
So that's the scholarship component of the Black College Experience, which of course will be in honor of my father, James A. Kelley Fund, is the scholarship component of Black College Experience. So actually, I awarded the first 2 scholarships in 2019. And as of Wednesday, I have awarded 11 scholarships. So 2 the first year, 7 last year, and then 2 this year, or this past week. So we have been able to award 11 scholarships so far.
And Keisha, that's absolutely phenomenal. A, that you're doing it in the honor and memory of your father. B, that you're doing it, period. And C, that you have been able to bless so many people. Tell folks how they can support you as you go out there and try and bless young people as they're making their decisions to go through historically Black colleges and universities.
So if you're wanting to donate to the scholarship fund, of course, it's www.experience.com. There is a donate button on the top. You have to hit the donate button on the bottom. I don't know what happened there, but you have to hit the donate button on the bottom. And then, the donation button is open where it's 365. It never closes. Whatever you want to donate, however you want to donate. I tell people $5 turns to $10, $10 turns to $20, and that turns to hundreds of dollars. And this is how scholarships are provided for these students that are going to these colleges. Of course, if you're following me, I'm on Twitter, Black College or Black College EXP. I'm on Instagram, Black College Experience, and then on Facebook, the Black College Experience.
Keisha, can you share with us how some of the responses have been when these young people have been awarded these monies?
I actually had my first year, I had 2 students, one from Southern, the second one was from Howard. And the one that was from Howard was actually going to study abroad right after that. So she reached back to me. One of the students that was awarded last year was from Alcorn. She said, because of you, I'm going to follow your footsteps and I'm going to do the same thing. I want to give back. And so what she did was, in a different manner, because she's still in college, she started like a program where they were feeding people in her community. A guy that was an athlete at Clark Atlanta, he reached back, he sent a thank you card, and I'm a sucker for mail. For people that don't know, I'm just like my mom. I love mail. I don't care if it's junk, I love getting mail. I love getting mail. And so he sent a thank you card, handwritten. That's my tearjerker. You got it. He sent a handwritten card, it's all there. But he sent back a handwritten card, thank you. And then out of those 11, 3 of those people have graduated. One of them being my nephew that graduated from Tennessee State. One was my first awardee that graduated from Southern, and then the young man that graduated from Clark Atlanta. So they all just graduated in this spring.
Keisha, that's absolutely phenomenal. I mean, when I tell you, you're literally sowing seeds of life. I know people look at it sometimes as, oh, it's just money. No, it's so much more than that. And you are sowing those seeds of life, and those seeds are bringing forth good fruit. I got the website going by on the scroller right now, www.blackcollegeexperience.inc.com. Like she said, there's a donate button on there. And I want you to, every little bit helps, whether, like she said, be $5, $10, $20, whatever you got. Why don't you drop that off on her today? Because what she's going to do with it is she's going to turn it into a blessing for a young person. And those are some of the testimonies that you get. For her, it ain't all about the sports. It's all about the people. And Keisha, I admire you. I respect you. I adore you. Please tell everybody again how they can follow you and keep up with what you're doing.
Y'all are here in the Atlanta area at 4:45, please turn on the news. AJ doesn't know this, but I'll be on the news today on WSBTV. I got a chance to get out here, y'all, and this is the crazy thing because this was never a vision of mine, and this is what happens when you let God be the vehicle. You let Him take control, and he's in full control of what I'm doing now. So it was just, okay, I'm just going to go out here and I'm going to get these interviews today. And they said, okay, that's fine, but we want to interview you for the news.
Wow.
So today at 4:45, I'll be on WSBTV talking about the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge, as well as North Carolina Central and Auburn, and what it's about for HBCUs.
Keisha, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. In fact, when Natasha Marie just said, that's amazing. Let me tell you something, Keisha. Your gifts make room for you and put you in the presence of greatness. Don't ever forget that. You just keep doing what you're doing because, man, the sky is your limit.
I said, I must call my mom and tell her, Mom, I'm going to be on TV. It's not like she can see it, but it's one of those things. I'm still her baby, so I have to call my mom and tell her. But again, if you're looking for me, I'm on Twitter, Black College EXP, Instagram, Black College Experience, Facebook, The Black College Experience, and then of course the website is www.blackcollegeexperienceinc.com.
Listen, you leave your mama alone. Your mama was telling you she was seeing you all on the TV where she was. You ain't believe her, and they were running back a clip of you and Coach Prime.
Must be with Dion, Mom. I know I get it.
You let your mama gloat about her baby.
That's it. She said, you came home and you didn't tell us that Mom wasn't at home. I said, that's a video from last year. Mom, come. It's okay. I'll be home soon.
And Keisha, is your sister as excited about what you do as your mom? I know she is the exact opposite of you when it comes to sports.
Yeah, my twin sister is the exact opposite. Care less. Her school won a SWAC championship. My sister didn't care one way or another. She was like, she didn't care. Now me, I would have been bragging for the next 2 months. My sister did not care one way or another. She didn't care. She didn't know what was going on. It was just like, no, whatever. And I was like, oh, I do. I keep up with everything that's going on between our programs. My sister does not care in any way, shape, form, or fashion. She does not.
That's all right. Keisha, we love you. Do me a favor. Enjoy yourself. I'll be looking for you on the news later on. I will definitely see you in the morning over at the college game day set. And I'm so excited, Keisha. Thank you so much for lighting my fire to get more involved in HBCUs, period. Not just sports, but in everything that they do, because guess what? It matters. And I appreciate you. And I mean it. You are the reason why I'm trying to do what it is I'm trying to do.
Tomorrow.
All right, my friend. Take care. Be safe out there.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, Keisha Kelley, y'all, the queen of Black College Experience. And I mean to tell you, I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. Okay, y'all. I got to take a break. Let me get on our sponsor, and then we'll also do birthdays. And what else do I got to do? I got to do a bunch of stuff. Natasha Marie, This is a great sponsor. I appreciate you connecting them to us. I need to get myself over there to Studio Zumba Plus so I can get myself back in shape. Listen to what I'm talking about, y'all.
Hey y'all, it's Natasha Marie and I'm here today to talk to you about Studio Zumba Plus. Studio Zumba Plus, whether you're more than just Zumba, is Houston's new prime location for fitness classes, body contouring, and event space rental needs. Oh, and I cannot forget $5 line dance Fridays. So get on over to Studio Zumba Plus, where their motto is you dance it off, contour it off, and then celebrate with a party that is off. They are located on 13018 Woodforest Boulevard, Suite E. That is 13018 Woodforest Boulevard, Suite E. Book your appointment at StudioZumbaPlus.com. That's StudioZumbaPlus.com. And their telephone number is 737-808-1408. 737-808-1408. 737-808-1408. There are no more excuses, y'all. Let's get it.
Yeah, let's get it. Studio Zumba Plus, new sponsor right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK. And again, I'm excited about them line dancing. I'm going to have to get over there and show y'all I know what I'm doing. Do a little line dancing with y'all, see if y'all know what y'all talking about. All right. Man, Keisha Kelley really has me excited. And I am so happy for the amazing things that are happening for her. I am so happy for the amazing things that are happening for her. So y'all please follow her. And again, like we said, no pressure, no shade, no any of that. But if you got $5, $10, you can drop on her to help with her scholarship fund. Every amount will be welcomed. And you just go to www.blackcollegeexperienceinc.com, and she will make sure that money gets to those young people who, A, so desperately need it, and then B, are going to do great things with it. All right, before I get to, let me do this. Let me do Sybil Wilkes. And then we'll come back and I'll do the birthdays after Sybil Wilkes. Here's what you need to know today.
It's Sybil Wilkes with what you need to know. Today is, say it with me now, Friday, August 27th, 2021. Number 1, Saturday marks the 58th anniversary of the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. It was on Wednesday, August 28th, 1963, that an estimated 250,000 mostly Black folks gathered at the Lincoln Memorial. They came to see and hear leaders like A. Philip Randolph, Mahalia Jackson, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as he gave his historic I Have a Dream speech. 58 years later, thousands are expected to gather in Washington, D.C. and in other cities across the country. Among the demands, that the U.S. Senate ends the filibuster, pass the For the People Act, the John Lewis Voting Rights Restoration Act, and raise the federal minimum wage to $15 per hour. Number 2, as gun violence remains a persistent issue in the U.S., a letter written by activists from Guns Down, March for Our Lives, and other organizations sent to President Biden, reacquainting him with his campaign promises. They were to send a bill to Congress repealing the liability protections for gun manufacturers, closing the background check loophole, and closing waiting periods. At the top of the list of demands, activists call upon the president to circumvent the legislative branch entirely and establish an Office of Gun Violence Prevention in the White House. According to a tally by the Washington Post, the U.S. now has more than 100,000 people hospitalized with COVID-19 nationwide for the first time since January. The number of new infections is also on the rise, with about 148,000 new cases being reported daily nationwide. Hospitalization rates are highest in the Southeast, including Florida, where 17,000 people are hospitalized. Number 4. This week, a group of activists honored American gay liberation activist Marsha P. Johnson in New York's Christopher Park. Known as an outspoken advocate for gay rights, Johnson was one of the prominent figures in the Stonewall Uprising of 1969. Johnson died in 1992, and on August 24th would have celebrated her 76th birthday. Number 5. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Or better yet, make wine. Read more about how Stephanie Bethea, owner of Purple Corkscrew Wine turned a layoff into a successful business in today's Black Business Spotlight. Here's your daily inspiration from Yogi's Jewels. Life is a series of choices. Choose harmony. That's right. I'll drink to that. Thank you to our What You Need to Know partner, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And to subscribe to my free daily newsletter, please visit SybylWilkes.com. Be informed, be empowered.
All right. Thank you very much. There's Sybil Wilkes with What We Need to Know Today. Sybil Wilkes with What We Need to Know Today. That's some good stuff. All right. Let's get back to it now. Before we hit the top of the hour, let me get some birthdays in on this Freestyle Friday. Wanda Faye Peters celebrating her 57th birthday. Wanda looks so good. Joseph Akins is 53. Lisa Collins celebrating her birthday with Denise Grievous. Also, Dr. Rhonda Sneed is celebrating her birthday with Veronica Carroll. Hey, sis, happy birthday to you. Let's see. Lauren Ashley Champagne. Little Lauren is celebrating her birthday today. I know we got some birthdays over the weekend. If you got a birthday over the weekend that you want me to get to, be sure and send that one to me. Another celebrity birthday, none other than Darren McFadden, formerly with the Arkansas Razorbacks, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Oakland Raiders. Here's your birthday celebration.
Oh, go shawty, it's your birthday. Ooh, it's your birthday. Go shawty, it's your birthday. Today's your day. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to each and every one of you as you celebrate your birthdays. Again, we want to wish you a happy anniversary, happy birthdays, and happy anniversaries. Met a couple today celebrating 38 years. Happy anniversary to them. All right, y'all, we are about to hit the top of the hour. Hour number one already on the books, live from Atlanta. We're getting ready to do hour number two. Got another special guest that'll be joining me on hour number two. So you be sure and stick and stay. If you want to get in with me today, you're going to have to text me 832-403-5005. That's 832-403-5005. Again, the breaking news from earlier in the day, the New Orleans Saints going with none other than Jameis Winston as their starting quarterback, beating out Taysom Hill. Also, it was Teddy Bridgewater that's going to be the starting quarterback up in Denver, beating out Drew Lock. And Drew Lock was disappointed, understandably, but again, it'll be Teddy Bridgewater up there. Still waiting to see what a couple of the other places are going to do at quarterback, but those are the news that came today. All right, we're about to hit this top of the hour. If you want in, again, you got to text me, 832-403-5005. That's 832-403-5005. We are KYOK, AM 1140, 92.3 FM, and streaming live on KYOKradio.org. Conroe, Houston. And it is now the top of the hour. Hour number two on the way. And I got to get that young man by the name of Ray. Come on, Ray, get us going.
When I step on the field, I send one message. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. Football is getting hit. That's it. It's gonna be football now. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's hunt now. Let's hunt now. Let's hunt. talking about the Jets like we're talking about the Saints. You know, all this holler we the Miami Heat of football. Yeah. The bottom line is you got to buckle up for chin straps. It's embarrassing. Yeah. Don't disrespect the game like that. So much crime from him. He's a man. He can be hit just like us. He's a man. You ought to make the big run. He's a man. I'm telling you, step on the field, man. That's who I is.
When I step on the field, I send one message. And this is what it feels like.
Oh, my bad. Your bad don't work in my world. What time is it? What time is it? What time is it? What time is it?
Let's go. Let's go. By God, let's go. Again, that's his first hour on the books, second hour underway right here on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. There is one other thing I've got to do, and let me go ahead and do that right now because I forgot to do it.
The views and opinions expressed on all radio shows broadcast on KYOK are entirely those of the hosts, guests, and callers who are entirely responsible for all show content and do not in any way reflect the opinions of KYOK Radio, its sponsors, staff, or management.
All right, there you go. You got it right here on the lunch break. I think I've taken care of everything that I've got to take care of so far. But again, we are in hour number 2. And I'm broadcasting live from Atlanta, Georgia. It is about to be MEAC SWAC challenge time. It is the North Carolina Central Eagles taking on Alcorn State Braves. It'll be tomorrow, 7 o'clock, but there's a lot of events today, this evening, and even in the morning with College Game Day being live from the Center Park Stadium. That's home of the Georgia State University. So looking forward to being a part of as much of it as possible, bringing it to you firsthand from Atlanta. Hope everything is going well with you and yours. Monica Howard, I see you there. CJ, I see you there. Natasha Marie, Keith Hennick, and others. I see you all right there. All right. So again, we've been talking about some of the NFL news, been talking about the final preseason action coming up this weekend. It'll be the Houston Texans are going to close out versus Tampa Bay. Coach David Culley says he's going to play his starters through at least the first half, if not through the third quarter. And what's going to be interesting to me is who will be the starting quarterback, because that's most likely who's going to be the starter on September 12th when they take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. So again, Texans, Tampa Bay, Saturday, tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Also, the New Orleans Saints are going to take on the Arizona Cardinals. That'll be tomorrow at 7. Jameis Winston, as you now know, will be the starting quarterback of the regular season. And then the Dallas Cowboys are going to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. That game is going to be Sunday at noon. And Dak Prescott has been removed from all restrictions. He's no longer on a pitch count with his throws of his arms. He has been free and released to do whatever he needs to do to get ready for the season opener when the Cowboys take on Tampa. There's news coming out of Jacksonville that there are some Jaguar players that are not too happy with head coach Urban Meyer. And we knew that was going to be the case. You know, when you got a college coach that's as big of a figure as Urban Meyer, some players who didn't play for him, didn't come out of his system, you know, maybe veterans, what have you, they're not going to be as enamored with his style as other players will be. So Al High said they moved that Saints game up because of the possibility of the hurricane. So that game is going to be, instead of 7, it'll be tomorrow at noon. At noon is what Al High is saying. Thanks for the update, Al High. Just a good dude, man. Just absolutely appreciate you, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you and Ben Sutterth on I think y'all are on tomorrow. Is that right? Is it tomorrow or Sunday? But yeah, I want to check y'all out. I got a message. Y'all are going to be on it together, and I'm looking forward to seeing Al High and Ben Sutterth III as they do their thing on a podcast together. So good stuff. But yeah, Urban Meyer apparently is kind of rubbing some guys the wrong way, and there's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of reasons with that. You don't run an NFL program like you run a college program. You can't do the same thing with young men as you do with grown men. You definitely can't have the same approach verbally and emotionally and mentally. Just different. Just different. I'm quick to tune you out if you're talking to me like I'm a child. And I'm not saying that that's how Urban Meyer talked to his players back at Ohio State or Florida or Utah. What I'm saying is that any bit of that with these guys in Jacksonville is going to rub somebody the wrong way. Somebody's going to be like, look, man, I'm grown with kids and bills, and I don't need you talking to me like that. And then the other thing is some of the decision making. Some of the decision making is rubbing some guys the wrong way. And right in the heart of that is Tim Tebow. And I know everybody wants to be excited about, well, Tim got an opportunity, he's good guy, he's Christian and this and that. That's not always, those are not always the factors of what people have an issue with Tim Tebow. Sometimes people look at his ability, just that. They don't have no problem with him being a Christian. They don't have no problem with his following. They don't have no problem with his position on different topics and social issues and everything. Don't have any problem with that. NFL locker rooms and pro sports locker rooms are some of the most diverse melting pots in the world. If only we could learn from how NFL and NBA and Major League Baseball and hockey locker rooms, how they get along and how they mesh and how they put differences aside. As long as you can do your thing out there, then all that other stuff, I ain't worried about it. There are people that look at Tim Tebow's ability, just that. And yes, he's had some success in the NFL. But when you look at, him getting a legit shot to make the team as a tight end, what about all those tight ends out there that have been playing tight end for a long time? And they looking for their shot in the NFL. And they literally almost did not get their shot because a guy decided he wanted to switch from baseball after having switched from football, after having switched from quarterback, to all of a sudden now he wants to be a tight end. And this dude is getting a shot to play tight end. A lot of people are mad in Houston because they feel like if Deshaun Watson had ran with the first team, then he would be taking reps away from somebody who was going to play because they feel like Deshaun is not going to play. A lot of folks, are mad because, there are guys that were taking reps away from other guys because of whatever issue. It's not always political. It's not always social issue related. It's not always, I don't like this guy. It's just, wait a minute, man. There's other people that are as deserving, better qualified, better skill set, all of that are not getting a fair shot because Urban Meyer decided he was going to run with one of his boys. And there are people that, everybody talks about, everybody's allowed to say what they want to say, and they're allowed to choose and decide what happens to their own bodies, except for in certain situations. Yes, I'm throwing a little eclipse. But when it comes to people disagreeing with how a group of people feel, then it's a problem. They'll get over it. The team is not going to implode. Players are not going to walk off of the field because they are being rubbed the wrong way by Urban Meyer. Now, they might stop playing hard for him. He might end up losing the locker room. He might end up losing the authoritarian control over his team that a head coach should have. That day might come. I don't think it's going to happen right away, but it might. And those will be some of the factors that will have played into why that happened. Urban Meyer has got to understand this ain't college. And folks, grown men are not always as enamored with you as other young men. Urban's big draw back in the day was that he seemed to have a pipeline from college to the NFL. Well, Urban, these young men are in the NFL. They don't need your pipeline to where they already are because many of them were there before he got there. So, I've got an affection for the city of Jacksonville. I lived in Jacksonville. The first city that I was transferred to in Florida was Jacksonville. And I got there before the Jaguars were there. And I always said it's a great town, great town. All they need is some kind of professional sports. They didn't have anything at the time. And now they have the Jaguars. And I want to see that city. I want to see that team do well. And I'm an Urban Meyer fan, but I'm the first to tell you, Urban doesn't always get it right. In fact, sometimes he gets it horribly wrong. So whatever is wrong down there, I hope they figure it out. All right, got to get ready to take a break. Let me get another word on from our sponsor. Again, if you're like me and you got a few pounds that you want to lose and you got a little toning up you want to do, you want to get everything tight and right, I got a group that can help you. They are known as Studio Zumba Plus.
Hey y'all, it's Natasha Marie, and I'm here today to talk to you about Studio Zumba Plus. Studio Zumba Plus, whether you're more than just Zumba, is Houston's new prime location for fitness classes, body contouring, and event space rental needs. Oh, and I cannot forget $5 line dance Fridays. So get on over to Studio Zumba Plus, where their motto is you dance it off, contour it off, and then celebrate with a party that is off. They are located on 13018 Woodforest Boulevard, Suite E. That is 13018 Woodforest Boulevard, Suite E. Book your appointment at StudioZumbaPlus.com. That's StudioZumbaPlus.com. And their telephone number is 737-808-1408. 737-808-1408. 737-808-1408. There are no more excuses, y'all. Let's get it.
I like that. Let's get it. I'm all for it. And that's what's going on over there at Studio Zumba Plus. You can do some line dancing. You can, do some other kind of things that will make losing weight and getting in shape fun. So be sure and check them out. Studio Zumba Plus, bringing us this segment of the lunch break. We're live in Atlanta. Georgia, and getting ready for the MEAC SWAC Challenge. That'll be North Carolina Central, the Eagles taking on Alcorn State, the Braves, and that'll be tomorrow, 7 o'clock, live from Center Park Stadium, home of the Georgia State University. And looking forward to being there. All right, let me get a quick sports update, see if there's any other breaking news out there. Seeing any breaking news. Okay, it looks like there's a trade in the NBA. Nothing major on that. I know Willie Gibson is like, yeah, man. Wow. Louisville suspended their head coach, Chris Mack, for 6 games for the upcoming season for breaking school rules. Boy, Louisville can't seem to get it right. If it ain't Rick Pitino up there messing up, it's Mr. Mack. All right, let's see. What else? Of course, we already talked about Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston has been named the starting quarterback for the Saints. Which other quarterback jobs are still up in the air? Obviously, the New England Patriots job is one that's still up in the air, Cam Newton or Mac Jones, and that's still beyond me. Call me whatever you want to call me, but the fact that Cam Newton is competing with Mac Jones for the starting job of the New England Patriots. Well, Cam ain't all that good. He ain't what he used to be. I'm not talking about that. Cam is just fine. Cam is just fine. And Mac Jones, he can barely spell NFL. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. He's a rookie. He's going to make rookie mistakes. He's going to see things he's never seen before. He's going to see things that Cam does in his sleep. Don't know if Mac is going to be able to do that. Well, Justin Herbert did it last year. Yeah, different. We'll see. Cam Newton is not done. Cam Newton is not dead. So we'll see. He's back at practice as of yesterday. We'll see who wins that starting job. If anybody other than Cam Newton wins that starting job there, I will be very surprised. And if I'm Cam, I want out. I know. Well, you gotta learn how to be a good teammate, not just a good starter. If I'm Cam Newton, I want a chance to go to a team where I can start. I'm not gonna be backing up Mac Jones. Please, not gonna do it. Let Brian Hoyer do that. That's a Brian Hoyer job, not a Cam Newton job. Keith Hennig, the Bears have made their quarterback decision. They're going with Andy Dalton. They made that announcement yesterday that they're going with Andy Dalton as their starting quarterback. I don't think I've heard whether San Francisco has officially announced that it's going to be Jimmy Garoppolo over Trey Lance, but I believe that's the way it's going to go. And what is Ron Rivera doing? Ron Rivera has not officially named Ryan Fitzpatrick the starter. So what are you telling me? You're possibly considering starting Taylor Heineke? Huh? You made all that big splash in bringing in Ryan Fitzmagic, and now you're thinking about starting Taylor Heineke? Huh. Okay. He's Ron Rivera. And let me tell you one thing I've learned about Ron Rivera since his days at Carolina. That dude can do no wrong. Yeah, they fired him. They did. And Washington couldn't wait to get him. And even though he went 7-9, folks acted like he was the best thing since sliced bread. Ron Rivera is John Gotti. He is untouchable. I ain't arguing with it. I'm not debating it. I'm not even trying to explain it. I don't even care. Ron Rivera with the Washington football team can bring in a dude to be a starter and then not name him a starter and nobody blink an eye. So be it. Let's see who else is out there. Starting quarterback jobs. No issues in Pittsburgh. No issues in Baltimore, Cleveland. No issues there. Cincinnati. No issue there. Riverboat Ron likes to dance to a different drummer. I ain't in that. I ain't in that. Ron Rivera, I am not in that. Al High says they treat him like Jeff Fisher. Let me tell you something. Jeff Fisher was, if not the most overrated coach that I know of. And I shouldn't say that in front of Jennifer because I think Jennifer and Fish like that. Jennifer, act like you can't hear me. One of the most overrated, meanest, nastiest coaches in the world. And now he's going up there to Tennessee State with Eddie George, and he better behave himself. Jeff Fisher. Let me get my friend on here. I know she is just like, leave my friend alone. I know that's your friend.
I'm saying nothing. No, I actually don't. I actually don't know Jeff Fisher. So he's not my friend. He is friend adjacent with Chris. So he's not my friend. I have heard plenty of stories, and I would just say that I just know things like time is very important to him. Players showing up on time, that kind of stuff, as it should be important for all coaches. Absolutely. So yeah, that's. Other than that, I will leave the stories to those who experience them personally.
And that's so very true. First of all, I got Dr. J, Jennifer Thibeaux, joining us on the show. Always a pleasure to have you. For those who don't know, she's an author, she's a writer, she is a speaker, she is a broadcast journalist, you're an educator, you're a professional corporate trainer. You do a ton of stuff. I mean, seriously. In fact, let me get your my ticker going with you down there at the bottom. But that being said, there are people that you might hear things about that you don't have the same experiences with them as the person that had the bad experience. So I don't ever want to shoot somebody's opinion of somebody else like that, especially with Fisher, because he is going to deal with young people up at Tennessee State. And this is a big opportunity for Eddie. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I will tell you this. I don't know how much coaching experience Eddie has had at any level, but from personal experience, watching it through the eyes of Chris, the responsibilities for a coach go far beyond what the fans see on game day. Just the ability to understand the technology that you have to know how to use to develop a playbook, to create schedules. There's a lot to it. So if you don't have a big coaching history or resume, there's going to be a lot thrown at Eddie at one time, right? He'll be adjusting to a lot, plus NCAA rules of the do's and the don'ts of recruiting and how to deal with players. So I do find it beneficial for him to surround himself with coaches who are very familiar with the off the field X's and O's that are required to be a coach. I think that's going to be so important for his success. And to have that next level coach, I think it's going to be important for the kids. The young adults that are at Tennessee State, to be able to hear from voices that have made it to that next level and performed to the next level. So I think there's a lot of upside to Fisher being there with Eddie. It's really a matter of how quickly Eddie can acclimate to being a coach. And the life of a coach, and the idea that the game is over, where players would go home, the coaches are still there. I mean, a lot of people don't realize in some coaching programs, this is not at all healthy, but in some coaching programs, there are coaches that sleep in the office.
Right. Yep.
Right. I'm like at the pro level. There are coaches that have beds or sleeping bags and pillows, and they just don't leave. This is why a lot of coaches have a fairly unstable family life, because their life becomes a lot of times their job, and it consumes them, and it's just difficult. The actual balance is really difficult. So, it looks like his family has transitioned there nicely from what I can tell for Eddie. So that's going to be really important, because he is going to have some long days. He'll have some frustrating days. He'll have conversations he probably never imagined he would have with parents about, playing time for my child. And he's going to have that difficult conversation to say, I don't discuss playing time with a parent. I discuss it with the adult that is the college student. So all these things are going to hit him. And it'll just be a matter of how well he can adjust and kind of rise. But, Eddie's a champion. He's a champion. And I just feel like he's going to do really well, and his intent is to do right by the kids. So we'll just wait and see. I'm optimistic.
I am too. Dr. Jennifer Thibeaux, Dr. J, as we call her, joining us here on the lunch break. So glad to have you on this Freestyle Friday. We're live on location in Atlanta, getting ready for the MEAC SWAC Challenge, big game between North Carolina Central and Alcorn State. And I'm really excited about being here. But one of the things we've been talking about is the focus finally on HBCU programs. And Eddie George is bringing a lot of that in intensity and energy and all of that now that he is the man up at Tennessee State. And he's bringing those NFL experienced former players in as coaches, and even bringing, in as an advisor, Jeff Fisher. So I'm excited about him because it's an amazing opportunity. But the reason why I kind of talk about the Jeff Fisher effect is because I don't want Jeff to go and do to Eddie what he did to some other people like Vince Young, like Jared Goff, and others, because there's too much at stake with these kids, young people at Tennessee State, and then in particular at our HBCU. So that's why this one is a little more sensitive for me and more important.
Well, I get it. I mean, the whole concept of HBCU is that we're going to envelop the student with the love of family, right? Of family being taught by people by your own, right? That's the whole concept of HBCU. It needed to exist because there were restrictions of where we could be educated.
Correct.
And that was the best way to get the right educational love and transfer of knowledge to our next generation of African-American students. as you fast forward today, even though the legal restrictions may not exist, there are still barriers, right? We just can't deny that. So Eddie's job as a coach, his responsibilities may look different than a coach in a historically Caucasian, university. He is going to approach it differently. So that's why, I don't know all the people on his staff, but Jeff Fisher is one component that I think is valuable. There's value, but there's got to be other components that can help to satisfy that family connection that I think is required. What they're going to see, I know this because I see it all the time through Chris and other of Chris's peers that are coaching, is it's a big game coming up. You know what? Let me call Eddie so Eddie can, let me put him on FaceTime real quick. Let me pop him up on the screen, and do that. And so these players at Tennessee State are going to start to develop a new relationship with people they would have never had connection with, and be inspired by greats truly in person, not going on YouTube or TikTok and hearing some snippet. They're actually going to be able to connect with people, so it brings greatness closer to them, and that's going to be special to actually watch. Absolutely,
I do. I like that. One of Chris's former teammates, Bubba McDowell, up in Prairie View, has had great success up there. And from what I understand from the young people there, it's nothing for him to have a former NFL player, one of his former teammates, or somebody else come through, and for them that's invaluable, because here's somebody that has done it on the highest level possible, and he's right here talking to me man to man.
Absolutely. First of all, Bubba and Chris are best friends. They're like godparents to each other's children. Okay. And Bubba's just an amazing guy. So let's start there. Prairie View A&M, don't ever lose Bubba McDowell. Bubba McDowell is the glue that binds that football team, and it's not to be disrespectful to the head coach that is there right now, but he's just so important, right? He just has such a love for the success of the kids, and it's not the things he says in recruitment. It's literally the off conversations I hear just between two friends, Chris and Bubba, about the things they're trying to do for kids to just make them great men and make them God-fearing men. And it's so special to just kind of see, because people don't know that. They assume when you're in work mode that, you're saying that because you're in work mode. No, that's Bubba's mode all the time. His interest is seeing young men be great on and off the field. So PV just has a gym. They have had a gym for a long time with Bubba.
That's outstanding. So let me, look, I'm a dreamer. I'm one of those guys like, now what if? So what if an HBCU called Chris to be the head coach? You think he would call Bubba and say, yo, man, come on, join me over here and let's do this.
And EG too, Ernest Givens as well, who's now in the Houston area too, by the way. He's back in Houston.
Okay, good.
He sure would. Absolutely, he would call some of the best, and depending where it was located, if we could get anywhere close to where a 5'9" greatest of all time corner is over in the DC area. Not gonna name names, but I'm just saying, it would be really special.
Man, I'm telling you.
Or even a Rod. Rod Woodson is actually one of Chris's best friends as well. They were best friends starting from Purdue University. Rod was the one when Chris got switched to defense, like in the first football meeting. Rod said, come on, man, you'll be all right. I'll teach you the position. Like, it's just so crazy now that it's like, this is Rod Woodson, but Rod was a sophomore. Chris was a freshman at the time. He's like, you'll be all right. I'll teach you. And that was really his tutelage. So again, you just never know. You never know who you can be paired with, that it just changes your trajectory. Absolutely. I know that Chris would for sure be interested in head coaching, no matter the school. And I know he would be interested in pulling together a kind of an all-star cast of talent, experience. That would be special.
Yeah, we got Dr. Jennifer Thibeaux, joining us on the show on Freestyle Friday. We're on location here in Atlanta for the MEAC SWAC Challenge. Looking forward to that game tomorrow at 7. Man, I tell you what, you just got me going, and I know it will be the same way if Bubba gets that head coach job where he is or somewhere else. Yo, Chris, man, hey, why don't you come on over here and you run my defense? You know what I mean? That would be outstanding. I would love it.
Yes, because they just have a level of excellence, right? Like when people can be on the same page of excellence, man, that is something so special that we're very rarely put in a position where we can just be excellently ourselves. Like, like I'll just give you an example, not to put the shine on me, but yesterday I had that opportunity, and I told people in the beginning of the day, I said, today is my MJ flu game. And I told him, I'm not telling you that because I don't feel well. I'm telling you that because whatever I'm feeling, I'm about to overcome this and win. And I said, it's so rare that we get to be in a position, to be present in a position and just really feel that, okay, I'm where I need to be. I'm doing exactly what I'm designed to do. And I'm going to just win at this. And that's why I like the combination of a Bubba and a Chris, because they're so aligned with those ideas that it really would be something special.
You know, Dr. J, I love hearing you say that, talk about that MJ flu day, because that day you would not have thought anything was wrong with him, let alone what was wrong with him because of how he overcame it into the level. When and this is a serious stretch, so walk with me.
Okay.
When you look at the situation with Sha'Carri, when you look at, we saw what happened in the Olympic trials. We understood what happened as a result of that. And then the big hype for the Prefontaine Classic. And reality says you're not going to be inactive for a month and a half. And these ladies have been competing on an international level, and you're just going to run out there and run with them. Many people have had so many things to say about her afterwards. Or she has said some things afterwards, even in relationship to, who I'm now going to call the queen of track, Allison Felix. What needs to happen there? How do we get her in her MJ flu moment where she gets over trials, tribulations, circumstances, conditions to be as great as some of us believe she can be?
Okay, so there's a lot of layers to this. So let's take it piece by piece. You're right. She had a competition break, right? Competition break. But that's important for people to understand, because they run these smaller track meets just to get themselves in condition. Track practice is different from actually competing and actually going to these smaller meets. So she would have potentially done another meet, even if she had done the Olympics. She would potentially done some other smaller track event, the same way that tennis, actually does prior to the Prefontaine. So she should have been running. She would have been a well-oiled machine by the time Prefontaine Classic happened. But she had that break. I don't know how much she trained. Do you?
I don't.
See, I have no idea. Now, I have a frame of reference with Lolo Jones. So Lolo Jones went through my broadcast class. And when she went through my broadcast class, it was right at the start of her track season. Like, her track season was just getting ready to start. So we allotted time for her to train in the mornings and then in the midday, so that she could keep up with the training schedule her trainers wanted her to do and still do my broadcast classes. It's a lot, right? It's actually a lot. She was tired because she was trying to prepare for transition potentially out of track. So that's why she's doing my broadcasting classes. But it is a lot. So I don't know what Sha'Carri was doing, but we know she was dealing with personal problems. We know she was dealing with a death. So if I had to guess, and pure guess, she probably took a break. She took some time, right? And that's going to impact her performance. It just is. So my expectation is that she wasn't going to win her races. Now, important point. I did not see the Prefontaine Classic, but I know how track works. If she wound up being in a track meet with all the top runners, that means she made it to the finals. So people are acting like she literally was the last person, in the whole doggone competition. I'm like, well, if she was competing against the Jamaicans and the top Jamaicans, then that means she made it to the final. So hello, she was winning prior to that. So let's just not forget that idea that don't act like she's a slug. She came in last out of the best. Mm-hmm. That's what we actually saw. That's number one. So let's put that to the side. Fans to some extent are a bit uneducated about how training works. Correct. So I will forgive fans for that. Now, where the lack of forgiveness, even though we are to forgive everybody because I'm Christian, the lack of understanding is when Allison Felix, rightfully so, tried to help the mob of fans that were just memeing, Sha'Carri and all of that, saying, look, give her time. There's going to be a lot of races. Just give her time. When Sha'Carri then basically snubbed that feedback from, of all people, Allison Felix, I was like, okay, Sha'Carri, put the phone down, baby, and go lace up your shoes, because right now the best thing you can do for yourself is be in your zone of your track talent. Mm-hmm. That's the best thing you can do for yourself from a endorsement standpoint, from so many other things. I wouldn't be shocked if Allison would have been looking at Sha'Carri to be an endorser of the Allison Felix products, right? Yep. But probably not now. It's like Sha'Carri doesn't understand some of the things that she's cut off. Number one, she's young, right? She needs some polishing. I don't know who is on her team. I think she's very salvageable, but I think there are some I think there's a step back from public conversations that she needs to have to regroup. And this is track season, so she shouldn't really be on social media much to begin with. She's got to be running. Like that's just the way it is. The same way college athletes tend to all just go dark during the season, especially once the tournament happens. If you're talking basketball, right? They're not on social media. If you're on social media, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. That's a distraction. So right now, I think she's allowing a lot of distraction to kind of derail her. I don't know if that's what impacted her coming in last in a final, but she's young. She's got so many more races to run. The important thing is that she conditions her body in a way that she can maybe have as long of a career as a Allison Felix. That to me is the goal, because that long career means long money. So that's what people need to understand, that it's money connected. This is a professional track player, or track athlete. The goal is to run as long as possible because that's your money.
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Jennifer Thibeaux joining us here on the lunch break. Dr. J, y'all know, like Keith Hennig said, my very favorite guest. We love having her on the show. You said a whole lot, and I want to kind of dig into those layers as well. I had to temper myself because I forgot that when somebody's been running consistently and they've hit their stride, they're in rhythm, they just got it all down. That's where the Jamaican ladies are. And Sha'Carri did not have a way to duplicate or replicate that. Track is not like NFL football where you got practice games and you got that. Right. She literally would have had to invite them to come and run against her in some type of track, race environment for it to be similar. And there's no guarantee they would have went all out in that setting. So
why would they?
Yeah, exactly. For her to, walk out there in that Prefontaine, qualify for the finals, and expect to do as well as them, again, for me, it was like, AJ, you know better than that. It doesn't work that way. Right. So that was the one thing. And then she, a lot of folks had issues with what she said and that she was not humble and what have you.
Right.
We'll just say this. We can want people to be humble. We can want them to walk in humility and what have you. I'm going to use an example, and I'm going to use it not because I want to add shade to him, but where was that outcry when Steph Curry doing all the antics that he was doing during games? Devout Christian was in no way walking in humility, was able to do it because he had the skill set to do it. Yeah, he going to hit 55 footers, not 35 footers. But the Christian community didn't come after him for humility. They didn't come after him for, you need to learn this and say that and do this and do. They didn't do that. They didn't do that when other, Christian athletes, were flamboyant and were, very, Kevin Durant, before he became who he is now, would sit with a backpack full of Bibles and just thank God for everything. And then in the game, he pointing at folks and mouthing folks and what have you. And nobody said anything. But for some reason, I'm going somewhere. And for some reason, the little black girl got to be. She got to be humble. And that part bothers me. I agree with humility. I agree with that's what we want. But if we don't get that out of the person, we got to throw them away. They have no more value.
So this is so timely. Chris showed me some like graphic thing. I won't tell you where it came from, but it was a graphic thing that was being taught to athletes, and it was about how to be a humble athlete. So crazy. That to me is like an oxymoron. I was like, what? No, yesterday I told myself today is MJ in the flu game. I'm not gonna tell myself I'm Buster Brown, somebody you never heard of. I'm telling you I'm the best.
I'm just glad to be here.
I'm just so don't mind me. I'm in the corner. No, I'm in the house and I'm here to win. Like that's what it is. If you don't like it, this is what I need to pump myself up, and whatever it is I need that's gonna put food on my table. Then if y'all take issue with it at your little table. But the table that I am trying to build with the good vegan food I'm putting on my table, then I'm gonna take whatever it takes, whatever. If I need to see that person with some horns, whatever I need to do to laugh at them, to minimize them, to tell myself, to hype myself up, baby, you about to win, then that's what's gonna happen. Because I'm a competitor, or to me, a real competitor, you can't define what motivates me and how I perceive my competition. You can't do that. I'm the only one that can do that. You can't influence it. No matter how hard you try. Fans booing, I don't care. Fans cheering, well, that's nice, but still, to an extent, I had already set out to win. You just watched it, but I had set out to win. Your cheering didn't help me win. I had set out to do that.
Dr. J, you just talked about something that I have talked about before. I had a high school football coach. I played for him just 1 year, Jerry Faust, and he told us that to enjoy this moment because there's no guarantee that you'll ever get here on any level again. Truth be told, there are a lot of people that on any level of the sports that they played doesn't mean that they got to a championship level. There is a championship mentality that many people don't understand. And the best of the best, say what you want about Jerry Faust. Yeah, he washed out at Notre Dame. No, he didn't do great things at University of Akron. But at Moeller High School in Cincinnati, Ohio, he was winning mythical national championships before they even knew what that really meant. And his team went all around the country and they shut people down because they had a different mentality that other folks have. I say that to say Michael Jordan wasn't out there trying to be your friend and trying to just say humble things. Tom Brady is one of the biggest trash talkers in the world, and that dude got more hardware than people can buy. And folks want all these other folks to have this personality and this mentality that they think that they should have. Well, baby, you've never been the best of the best of the best of the best in the world like a Sha'Carri, like some of these other people. Mike Tyson was talking about eating people's children. Folks didn't like that, but you know what? They couldn't beat him for a long time.
And they love watching him knock people out in seconds, right? Well, look at Chris. Chris, I hate to always bring up my boo, but Chris was notoriously attacked by the media and early parts of his career for being this mean person, and he was a talker and he was physical corner, he was all of that. But then when you got to him, sometimes he didn't want to talk to you in the media. That's the way that he was. He might have still been hyped up at the game or whatever, but in the most famous game of his career, the Bills game, boo. In that game, Chris was the only player to talk to the media after that game. And I said that was the evolution of the athlete Chris. At that stage, he had been in the league for a few years, and he understood how to manage his emotions and connect so that people didn't vilify him. But shoot, I've got clippings right now of Chris going after the referee, and then he had just the most vicious look on his face, and he's so sweet. It's so funny. I'm like, you're so sweet. But when you're in athlete mode, I totally get it. This is actually why I loved him as a player, because he was so locked in, and that's the requirement. And people at high levels don't necessarily understand that when the game is on the line, it can't be, I'm thinking about what the fans might. No, it can not, none of that. I have tunnel vision at this point. If it's me or you, I guarantee it was about to be me.
You better jump on my back, because me is coming out, not we.
Exactly.
Dr. Jennifer Thibeaux joining us on the show. Again, great discussion as always when we get together. I was fortunate enough to study some of the best salespeople and the best people in marketing. I'll never forget when I read the book about Michael Milken making $500 million in annual salary. I'm like, man, that's unimaginable. But this dude had a mentality that most folks wouldn't have known how to deal with. General Electric, man, we called him the Little Caesar. Man, that dude had a personality. If you're not number one, you're for sale. And he had everything from light bulbs to airplane engines. AT&T back in the day. These people had a mentality that most folks wouldn't understand. And when folks expect humility from someone who's exceeding your wildest expectations, you're literally asking them to not be who they are or not do what has helped get them to that level of success. Sha'Carri basically said, I can never, the only place to go from ninth is up. And folks, they dogged her about that. When she said that they're not done with me, they're going to see me again. Congratulations to them, but they're going to see me again. Folks were upset about that. I
didn't understand that. I didn't understand that upset. Like, I totally didn't understand it. I'm like, she was already hyping herself up, starting to put herself in the zone. That's all I read from it. My issue with her was her response to Allison Felix. That was my whole issue with her, was made me say, okay, the pressure is getting to her. I don't think she's thinking clearly that this is not the person to go after. If you're going to stop to comment about somebody, this isn't it, because this is just not helping you in the short and the long term. But people don't, like, if you judge me based on regular people's standards, then some things aren't going to jive. Yeah. I'm not regular.
Yeah.
It's just not going to add up.
I tell people all the time, if you're looking for me to humbly say, oh, thank you, I so appreciate you, I'm not your guy, man. If I killed it, I'm going to tell you, man, that felt good, man. I wrecked that, man. I really felt that one. If I messed up, I'm going to first tell you, man, that was one of the worst things I've ever done in my life. But if you're looking for that mealy mouth, I'm not going to do it. I'm not that. I wasn't trained that way. I wasn't raised up that way. You talked about her people. One of my favorite people in the whole wide world. Again, one of the best of the best. Ronaldo Nehemiah is her manager.
Okay. All right.
What does a manager do versus an agent, versus a coach, versus someone who can say, Sha'Carri, you can't do that. That's Allison.
A manager takes her phone. A manager says, let's agree to be in season. And when you're in season, let's come up with some rules. And some of the rules are going to be, you're not on social media, or let's house this out to somebody else so they can manage it consistently with some consistent messages for you. Let's even out what the public is seeing from you so that it makes sense. She is only in public being seen as doing positive things. And other than that, she is on the track training and being ready to go. A manager is providing structure for her and connecting resources to her that she needs, that I think she really needs. Like, if she's starting from scratch and says, Dr. J, what do I need? I'm definitely getting her a mental health expert to be with her at least through this year to address things that she may not even realize that she's being impacted by. A lot of people don't realize, some childhood things that are just unresolved. They're unresolved and they're continuing to impact their life. And so there would be such a great value to just making sure that you address those things, because while I am not an advocate of marijuana, and some people are, I just feel like the crutch of having to go to a substance, no matter if it's legal, illegal, whatever, I just think that is an avoidance of addressing an issue. That let's just address the issue, and let's not try to use a substance to mask or dull the pain, because it's still going to be there. And we're going to continue to be in this kind of circle that you're never going to get out of. So I would be surrounding her with the right resources and some structure.
Dr. J, we only have like 8 minutes, but as you were talking, this question hit me, and I hope you don't mind me asking you. I just want your opinion. Mm-hmm. Are we harder on our own than we are others?
Absolutely. I have... But it's not just us, okay? I think you see a person, I'm not even saying a person of color, you see a Black athlete, you expect them to be strong. You expect them to be faster. It comes with certain expectations. That was actually a true conversation I had with my own daughter right before she started going to camps. She started going to high school elite camps after the 5th grade. She started getting invites to these high school elite camps at colleges. And I said, sweetie, I know you're young. I know you're much younger than everybody else, but before they see your age, they see your skin color, and they expect the Black girl on the court is supposed to know how to handle the rock. And they expect the Black girl on the court to be fast. And they expect the Black girl on the court to be strong. And if you foul the Black girl on the court, they may not call that foul because she can take it. And I said, and that is flawed. It's terribly flawed, but that is a sociology built into, what is the system. So I go and look at a Sha'Carri. She runs fast. So it's just automatic. She's going to get up there. She's just going to run fast and win. Go ahead, little Magic. Go ahead and run fast and win. It's not always like that, right? Yeah. But the fans don't know that. They just think she ran fast this time, so she's going to run fast any other time. Maybe the first time we saw her, most people saw her, she was able to block out and really focus, and she's not been able to get back into that zone yet. We'll see her be that person, but there are so many other elements than the physical traits. But we see certain characteristics, and we have an expectation of what the outcome is before the races even happen. So we're hard on ourselves, but it's built into everybody. It's not just Black people expecting that of Black people. It's people seeing Black folks in the athlete position and expecting you to be able to handle more, take more. I think that's why people are so abrasive, by the way, to Black athletes, because it's built into the sociology. It's built into our ecosystem. The thought of, oh, they're used to being called N-word and all these terrible things. It'd be all right. No, it's not all right. It was never okay. It was never ever okay. It was never okay to mistreat a person of color, whether they were an athlete or whether they're in an office. It's never okay. But we have this pre-built in, well, you dealt with slavery, so surely this is okay. No, it's not. None of it was okay. But again, it's built into the sociology of it all.
Yeah. I wish we could spend more time on this. In fact, we might have to make this the topic of discussion when we get back together again next week.
Okay, let's do it.
Jameis Winston got announced as the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. I'm so happy, and I'm a lifelong Saints fan. And sure enough, somebody had the nerve to say Mr. Crab Legs, and I'm thinking, like, bruh, like, that's all you remember about this young man? This dude has come a long way since then. We can't let that go.
First of all, don't you see it in his eyes? Like, I see a changed person. I see the new version of Jameis Winston, and it's bigger than the things in his past. It's his vision. It's his focus. I see his goals. If that makes any sense, I can see his goals in his eyes. He's focused. And so, yes, you know what? But but hurt people. Okay. And so whoever that is that made that comment probably is stuck in their own past, which is why they feel it's okay to swim in the past for everybody else, to hold people to their past because they're in their past on something. Because you know as well as I do, when you're hurt and you don't resolve it, you live in that past. You don't get past it. And, your responses to things are as if it's the past. And I said this literally yesterday in a session. I said, Lord, help me if I'm yesterday's Jennifer, because I'm no good to you and I'm no good to me. And I said, we have to expect Jameis to be today's Jameis. And that's preparing to be tomorrow's Jameis. We have to expect that out of him. And I see that in his eyes, which is why I'm so excited, because very rarely does a person have a so-called fall or just not the success that they would like to have, and then get an opportunity at such a great organization. I'm not a Saints fan like you are, because I will live and die an Oilers love you blue fan. But
absolutely. Nothing wrong with that.
But that's Louisiana. That's the home state. So I have to, definitely secondarily rep the home state. And I'm excited for coming behind Drew Brees. Like, this is special. And so I continue to pray for him that he just walks in his greatness.
Dr. J, book me for next Friday. We got to come back because there was so much. We just kind of we tore the tab off of it, but we didn't open it up to see what's in. So
all right,
I really appreciate you, and do me a favor, give nothing but love to Chris and to Queen Elizabeth, Liz. And I hope that Chris had an amazing birthday. I shouted him out on Twitter and other spots because, again, I know that's your king and he's a good dude. So tell everybody. Go ahead.
This really quick. So I had this great birthday surprise for him, and I flew him to Louisville the very next day. So his birthday was on a Friday, right? Friday the 13th. And then we had worked it out with the family. It was like the best surprise. This was waves of surprise. I surprised him with the boarding passes that night, telling him that we were the surprise, but he didn't know that I was working with my brother-in-law. It was a surprise to everybody. So as each person came, they were getting surprise. It was just fantastic. So his birthday was really great because it was about family and togetherness.
Okay, so that's black love right there, y'all. That's black love right there. Dr. J, again, we appreciate you. Again, we'll be looking forward to having you back next Friday. We'll have plenty to talk about then. I'm sure if something comes up before then, you by all means let me know and let us get it out there. But again, give my love to everybody, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right. You the same too, AJ. Love you.
All right. Love you too, sis. Man, I'm telling you, that's good stuff, man. I love to see love like that. So we got to get ready to go. I hope you enjoyed the show. Once again, I'm down here live in Atlanta. It's all about Alcorn and North Carolina Central. That game is going to kick off tomorrow at 7 o'clock. It is the MEAC SWAC Challenge. It'll be live from Center Park Stadium, College Game Day. Y'all know them from ESPN. They're going to be out here tomorrow. I'll be over there on set covering that. I won't be, in front of the camera. I'll be, covering from a media perspective behind the scenes. And then, of course, the game will be later on tomorrow night, and I'll be bringing all that information back to you tomorrow. So as always, y'all, you know what? I love you for real. I love you for free. Let's not be divided. Let's be united. And I mean that in our culture and outside of our culture. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. Y'all be safe. We will talk to you on Monday. Lord, say the same. Y'all take care.